And so today we're going to set the stage and context around Canada's preeminent real estate website. This is a full view of Realtor.ca, what it offers, how it benefits members, and where we're going in the future. And so let's start here. Realtor.ca, supported by realtors, backed by local boards and associations, MLS systems and the rules, the Realtor trademark, the Realtor code and standard of business practice, and the myriad of essential services that help realtors meet consumer needs. This network that we have built over the years is extremely valuable, and it's extremely unique, and it helps deliver a professional and trusted level of service. So think of it this way: if your MLS system creates the primary efficient marketplace through cooperation, which it does, then Realtor.ca really represents the national view of that collective nationwide link of MLS systems. And it really backs the day-to-day business of the realtor community. And that national view gets a lot of attention by the real estate consumer. There were 374 million visitors, by 72 million visitors to the site in 2020. And while the real estate industry saw an increase in visitors of about 6%, Realtor.ca's visitor growth was 45% in 2020. So some incredible numbers, and we're continuing that trend as we're into 21. Those visits equaled a huge market share increase for the site. This graph represents the web traffic market share of the top 15 real estate portals, according to ComScore. Now, Realtor.ca is that top red line. The others are below. You know, we do see a lot of messaging out there that competitive sites and even local board sites will rival Realtor.ca traffic. But this is independent, verified information, and the market share of Realtor.ca is huge right now. It's the market leader. Over 40% of all real estate consumers in Canada include Realtor.ca as part of their real estate search. Now, all of this, despite adjusting to this new normal of this COVID-19 global pandemic. And actually, this is a personal picture. I snapped this shot when I went to get my vaccine here in Regina, Saskatchewan, where I live. This is a drive-through setup that they had for vaccination. Incredible. This is happening right across the country as we're starting to get back to normal. So some good news in all of this global pandemic. What's interesting is there's been a dramatic shift in the way business is done over this last 18 months. And it's really forced a change on our industry and others. And what's interesting is that, was it COVID that forced this change? In many ways, yes, it was. But you know, if we're really honest with ourselves, this shift did not sneak up on us. This transition has been happening for many years. COVID just simply exposed it. If you look at technologies that pre-COVID were fairly new, they quickly became mainstream. We can find examples in every industry. Restaurant industry is an example with the uptake in food delivery, or how we connect through platforms like this or Zoom or Teams. It's leading to the rise of the remote workforce. And angel investors, investment firms, giant companies, they're all putting their money into the real estate industry. And the term for the property technology sector is PropTech, and it is very busy. 2020 showed the resilience of PropTech in the capital markets. Research indicates about 23, almost $24 billion was invested across PropTech. Now, that was a decrease over 2019, mainly due to the global pandemic, but this number is expected to rise above 2019 levels as we get into 2021. So lots of eyes on the real estate sector. Silicon Valley, Wall Street, venture capitalists, they're all paying attention to the shift. They see huge opportunities in our industry. Think of these mega acquisitions that we've seen in our industry over the last few months. And these are not startups. These are established, entrenched firms in the real estate sector. There's an arms race in our industry to capture data, to capture consumer eyeballs, and profit is obviously the motive. So where does that leave you? Where does that leave the realtor? Well, we've seen many of these firms primarily tasked with the mission of simplifying that end-to-end transaction. They're trying to digitize what has historically been a manual process. And we've been asked this question countless times over the years. It was the end of the catalog. It was debating whether a price on a print ad would stop the consumer from calling you. What about interior photos on listings? People were just going to come to the properties and steal stuff. Virtual showings and online transactions are now the way of the future. So is this the end for the realtor? Well, no. No, obviously we will persevere. But remember, the context has changed. And we've seen it before, but it doesn't change the need for the realtor. The consumer sees extreme value in working with you through the process. Even though they're getting their information from many different sources, they need you now more than ever. This speaks to the importance of Realtor.ca in the Canadian ecosystem. Consumer research shows us that very few consumers start their search for a home with one of you already chosen. They start in an investigation phase. And by their own admission, this is not getting easier for them. These numbers are from our Great Expectations survey done by Nanos. Despite the need for you and their journey, you're not the gatekeepers of this data anymore. It's the self-research that is king. You don't have to meet them at your office and show them what's for sale. They already know that. But it's the paperwork, negotiations, market analysis, industry knowledge, price verification. That's what you bring. And so they're leaning on professionals in this age of data. And we know that humans need their big decisions validated by professionals, especially when it's the largest transaction of their lives. And our data shows us that the vast majority of the public know about Realtor.ca. They trust it enough to come back the next time they are going to transact real estate. This is a 92% awareness rate of the Canadian consumer, and this is up 15% in the last 5 years. So that puts us in a very unique position in the Canadian landscape. It puts us between millions of real estate consumers starting or already on their real estate journey and 136,000 realtors who are ready to help those consumers fulfill their real estate dreams. And we do this through 3 ways. First, we want to grow market share. We do this through an analysis of consumer data, creating partnerships for the site, and then spreading the reach of that trusted realtor brand. Our research shows us that just under half of all visitors to the site simply type Realtor.ca into the browser. That is incredible brand awareness. But that means more than half do not. So where do they come from? Well, consumers are very comfortable doing their own research, as we've talked about. They will contact a professional to help them through the process, but they do their own thing first. So they come to us through organic search, social media, and referral traffic from other websites. And we're seeing a new, younger audience. The proportion of 18 to 24-year-olds searching for real estate has gone from 5 to 10%. It's doubled. And that shift in that demographic did happen prior to COVID, but it has been further accelerated because of the pandemic. Now, we could do an hour just on search engine optimization. It's a very specialized craft, and we do it really well. But we, like you, or your consumer rather, we hire professionals in their craft to help us dominate in this SEO world. Our marketing department drives social engagement on a daily basis, all designed to reach the consumer where they are on those myriad of social channels. And we want to create referring sources. This is a huge opportunity. This is the ability to leverage that listing data to drive brand awareness on other platforms. It's other platforms that the consumer visits during their real estate journey. And we do this through DDF. We've developed important partnerships through DDF to display real estate listings on other platforms, and it's all powered by Realtor.ca. Realtor.ca DDF drove over 654,000 additional email leads to realtors in 2020. That's up 54% from 19. And it allows you to add listings on your websites using one of the 500 plus technology partners that have integrated with DDF. It's a very powerful tool. And we've created these incredible partnerships to display listing data on very credible sites as the consumer goes through their journey, including the financing journey. So Scotiabank and TD, Globe is another important partner site for us, a credible news source displaying the most credible source of MLS listings. And we've just launched a new partnership with the McGillivray Group. And again, it's all powered by Realtor.ca, designed to keep Realtor.ca top of mind with the consumer, and all of the leads that come from these sites go directly to you. They do not go through partner sites to be handed out for the benefit of the partner site. Now remember, you can enable a sharing of your brokerage listings from your DDF dashboard. That's on member.realtor.ca. So go to member.realtor.ca and ensure that you're sharing your content to DDF. Very important. The award-winning national ad campaign has also moved the needle and driven consumers to realtors. It fits really nicely both into the traditional side, like TV and radio, and those new digital channels that we see all the time. Once the consumer arrives, we want to convert them into a lead for you. And so we do that through user experience, or what the industry calls UX. At the core of UX is quality data and the experience that helps the consumer answer research questions. It gives them context to the marketplace that they're searching in. We talked about the consumer needing validation of decisions. They do that in today's era through ratings and reviews. This feature was added to the site a few years ago, been very popular. Those ratings create social proof of decisions with a brand or a service provider. Research indicates that 91% of 18 to 34-year-olds trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. And 93% of consumers say that online reviews influence their purchase decisions. So it's very important to link those rating services that you're using through to your Realtor.ca profile. We've added school catchment areas as an example to try and make the site more sticky for the consumer as they're going through their research journey. Heat maps give context to neighborhoods that the consumer is searching in. We're leveraging best-in-class technology to give them a look at properties before they physically go, which has, of course, been never more valuable than during this time of the pandemic. And the consumer loves to engage with this type of immersive walkthrough features. Looking at homes isn't confined to open houses on the weekend anymore. Times have changed. And they do react to this content. It's becoming a very important tool for you. About a quarter of the listings on Realtor.ca have some sort of multimedia attached to them right now. That's gone up substantially since the pandemic started. We'd like to see it go even higher because our research indicates that this type of content simply converts into leads for you. Floor plans becoming increasingly important as well. This is a very underserved area on the site. Consumers are looking for floor plans. It gives them an accurate size of the property, which can be very advantageous. So park that comment for a second. We'll come back to the square footage question. These 9 virtual tour providers can be embedded on the site. You can also display content from YouTube and Vimeo. Very important that Realtor.ca has this type of media in a very organic nature, creates a great consumer experience when they're looking through listings on the site. So you can add your virtual tour or your multimedia content through the back end of your MLS system portal. Live stream open house became very important as the pandemic took hold. Our development team rolled this out very quickly about a year ago. It's been very popular. And again, it's just another tool that you can add to your tool chest. The other way we're building context for the consumer is through curated content. So similar listing is a good example of curated content. It makes the consumer have a one-to-one relationship with the site. The site delivers information that's specific to what they're looking for. It's been very popular with the consumer. And all of this really comes to the third element, which is the most important. And that's just simply delivering high quality leads to you. So consumer behaviors really drive a lot of this business development. We're in touch with the consumer, what they're looking at, and how we can deliver those metrics back to you in a very usable package. So the Insights report is just a massive tool for you. Insights.realtor.ca. Go to that site. You can get a ton of information on what the consumer is doing in your local marketplace. They give us a pile of data when they're browsing the site, and we collect this data through an interactive widget that you may have seen pop up on the site. It's done for us by 4C. It's a powerful tool, helps us plan and develop important elements on the site that resonate with the consumer based on what they're telling us. Because when they get the information that they want or they need from the site, it simply converts into leads for you. We talked a little bit about member profile and the ratings. They really come to the site looking for more than just listings. If you Google your name, you're going to find that your Realtor.ca profile page is at or near the top of those Google results. This is really your digital business card now. So really important to add information, fill this profile out, profile paragraph, your languages, your specialties, your designations, trading areas, social media accounts. Make sure all of this is linked to your member profile, because they're coming to the site in droves and they're looking for a professional to help them. And a rich, robust profile gives them confidence that you can help them through their journey. The most requested data on the site is, not surprisingly, historically, the data that's been hardest to come by. The consumer tells us overwhelmingly that they want to see a rich history on the property that they're interested in, as well as the current status. So a few slides ago, we talked about floor plans. Well, the consumer tells us over and over, they want to know how big these properties are that they're looking at buying. Floor plans are a great way of getting accurate square footage on a property and not relying, and no offense to, Terranet, no offense, GeoWarehouse, somewhat expensive data that we could get from other suppliers for this type of information. But floor plans are one way to do that. And we've got to try and bridge this gap, because the consumer tells us they want this information, but not all of us are putting it out there. So we've got to close that loop somehow. Property status and previous sales information. Those are the things that the consumer is looking for right now on their journey. We added sold prices in a number of markets over the last few years. The board of directors passed a motion in 2018 giving the go-ahead. It's currently in most BC and Atlantic Canadian markets, Fraser Valley, Vancouver coming online very soon. And we're working hard with those regulatory issues that we've got in Ontario, Manitoba, and Alberta to display this type of information publicly. Again, we're only trying to meet member and consumer demands on this type of information. And it's really interesting, if we could get Marty to fire up that flux capacitor, get us back to February 8, 2006, we'd see a very interesting and controversial time, because that's the day that Zillow launched the first iteration of their estimate tool. 300,000 pages were viewed in the first 7 hours back then. It crashed the site. But Zillow was really only filling a hole in the marketplace that the consumer was not getting from the realtor community. Yet the use of realtors has gone up exponentially over that time. And so 15 years later, valuation tools on major real estate portals in the United States, like Zillow, Realtor.com, very commonplace. What this tells us is they're not looking to you for data. They want your advice and your knowledge. They'll get the data, but they want you to walk them through the why. And the consumer has this insatiable appetite for housing data. And frankly, sites that deliver this type of data, they just simply get eyeballs and they get leads. While these tools are not front and center right now, here they do come in different forms. Virtual office websites exist in many markets. They give the consumer access to this transactional level data. And they have to have this lawful broker consumer relationship, but we all know that bar is really low. That's first name, last name, email, and the consumer is getting this data. So we have to start delivering in unique and different ways. We have to start thinking about the site as properties versus listings. And we have to start adding data points to properties in general, because that's what the consumer is asking for. And there's a myriad of data points that we need to display on the site. And take Realtor.ca beyond just a virtual catalog of what's currently for sale. And so what does all of this mean? Well, it simply means this, that high quality data equals high quality leads. And we know that there's a staggering number of leads to realtors. In 2020, just under 4 million leads. That's up 38% from 2019. Year to date in 21, leads are up 132.6%. So the consumer is on the site and they're interacting with you. And remember, 100% of the leads that come from Realtor.ca come to you as a member benefit. Leads to the listing agent, no referral fees, and no competing agents on listing details. And that's your monthly contribution to own and operate Realtor.ca as part of your annual $310 that goes to CREA. So obviously it's economical. So again, our aim is to create a friction-free search experience and deliver high quality leads to you. But we are charting a path forward. And before I wrap up here quickly, and we'll have some time for some questions later, I just want to show you a little bit of what the future holds for Realtor.ca. In some cases, the future is now. We've put an enhanced booking feature on the site. It's live. The consumer can now indicate when they want to see a property. And even if they're working with a realtor, and many, like 70% of the consumers that use this field are adding a name into that field. So we're going to start linking those soon so that we can start creating much deeper connections between you and the consumers on the site. We're in a mobile first world. The new Realtor.ca app is live, terrific user interface upgrades. It was really built from the ground back up again. It's essentially a new app. It's not just a facelift. We know that the consumer spends a lot of time on their phone and online with apps just like you do. So we're trying to meet them where they are. And you have your own app as well. This is the Listing Stats app. This is a member-only app. You can track your listing performance, send reports to clients, respond to leads directly all through the app. You can get notified when your listing goes live on the site and when you receive a new email lead. And you can send customized and automated reports of listing activity to your sellers. So I encourage you to go to your app store, whether it's the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, download the Realtor.ca Listing Stats app. That is a member-only app just for you. We are in the age of voice. It's burgeoning, of course, but these devices are coming down in price and they're getting into millions of Canadian homes. So we are playing in that sandbox right now. How does voice interact with real estate and real estate search? We are also putting the home price index into many markets on the site. Many markets are obviously HPI-driven markets, but we're adding these insights into the landing pages on Realtor.ca just to give the consumer a high-level snapshot of what's going on. Again, we want to make a curated experience for the consumer. It needs to act like an Amazon or a Netflix where they feel that Realtor.ca experience is delivered just for them, not for everyone. And this is coming soon, sort of breaking news. We're adding the ability to have multiple videos appear on a single listing. So this is something we've been working on for a while. So you can have a YouTube walkthrough and an iGuide or a Matterport on the same listing, and it'll appear separately on Realtor.ca. So stay tuned for that coming soon. And we're also working heavily on leveraging a lot of data science, that we have to go well beyond housing and 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. So we need to deliver more and better business intelligence to you so that you can serve your consumer at a much higher level. So stay tuned for lots of fun stuff there. Again, the more questions that we can help answer, the more high quality leads we can generate. And we really want to put the consumer as the center of our ecosystem. They're our North Star. If we can deliver amazing content, amazing search experience, we can deliver high quality leads. And really that's what it's about. It's your site and it's your brand. And so with that, I will close off the formal part of the presentation